We knew when FADY DAGHER took over as Montreal's new police chief that he was going to try new things. In fact, he talked about that the day he was sworn in. I guess perhaps we didn't understand the full extent of what some of those new things were going to be. And as I mentioned before, community policing, it's a word we've kind of thrown about, but it was something he had tried in Longueuil when he was chief there. Question was, how do you tie that from one small community to an entire city? And I think what he has done here, which is what we're going to talk about, is something I never would have imagined that a police chief would do. So FADY DAGHER is on the line. Mr. DAGHER, thanks for being here today.
Bonjour, Mr. Rand and Madame Hall.
Hello. Nice to talk to you.
Can you just explain to me, I want to make sure I understand this right. You decided to do this on your own, and this is to actually, for 5 straight days, stay in homeless shelters in Montreal. So tell me why you decided to do this. What was the rationale for this?
Well, the rationale is because in the fall, I got to be asking my police officer, my recruits, to go on an immersion program for 4 weeks. So usually I like to be the kind of chief that wants to talk, to go on the field, see what's happening. But I did it to extend a bit intensive during the day and evening and night. So I was spending time with the homeless people, with the Aboriginal people, with some home, we have a domestic violence, the autism kids, the minority visibles groups. So day, evening, and night, 24/24 for 5 days, on purpose, especially to see how it's going on in Montreal, in the different neighborhoods. We did the 4 regions, the north, the south, the east, and west, and meet the community to see what they are their needs. And from that, we're going to prepare the program for the recruits in the fall for them to be able to understand what's the reality in Montreal of the population. It's very complex, Montreal, so I rather have my recruits understanding what they're getting into for the next 30 years instead of for them to have a surprise later.
Have you ever done anything like this before? And
No.
How did it go? What was it like? Yeah.
No, I never done this before. To be honest with you, to be very transparent, I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it to be that hard, especially around Wednesday. I did from Monday to Friday, but around Wednesday I was ready to give up, to say, you know what, it's enough. I'm exhausted because at night I was sleeping in the homeless houses, and you don't sleep. You don't sleep. There's so many noise. It's very hot, but the intervention, the people who work in those houses are amazing. It's so professional. The first word coming out of my mouth when I step out, it was respect for those community groups, the workers that are working there, because day, evening, and night, there's non-stop for the income that they make, for the marvelous job that they do. To be honest with you, I was very impressed. But to give you an example, around Wednesday, Thursday, I was so exhausted. Then I started understanding what a homeless person can go through when he has some crisis on the street, because they don't sleep, they don't eat well, they use drugs or alcohol, so they get so destroyed as a human being. I understand better why they get so disorganized when on the street.
Can I ask you, and I realize it's not the most cogent point, but did you walk in, are you in full police uniform when you walk in, or were you incognito?
No, I wasn't
street clothes.
Pants and
okay,
civilian, and I was really my clothes. It was really relaxed, like jeans and t-shirts.
And did they know who you were?
No. Most, but the workers, yes.
Right.
But the people who are using the houses, no.
Okay. I think let's bring James Hughes in on this conversation, who is the CEO of the Old Brewery Mission, one of the places that you stayed, the Montreal Police Chief FADY DAGHER stayed at. James, I'm just curious. So residents, people staying, did not know that it was the chief of police that was sleeping alongside them, but nonetheless, it's a face they haven't seen before. How did they react? How did this go from your stance, from your viewpoint?
Well, it frankly went really, really well. The staff was really touched that the chief decided to spend a whole night with us, and it's the first time that's ever happened. You got to remember the context as well. 20 years ago, the police weren't really welcome in these facilities, right? They were places to protect homeless people from the police. The tension was palpable. But over the course of the last 20 years, as the facilities became more and more clinical in nature, more sophisticated and professional in nature. You know, we're working to get to know these people and get them out, and the police have become our partner in that. For those situations where it's particularly problematic, where it's full of tension, it's a last resort. But the police, just as the chief explained, because of all kinds of behavioral challenges, mental health issues, addiction-related issues, neurological issues, we sometimes need assistance. And Station 21 in particular, but you know, the police in general in Montreal have become so much better at interacting with homeless people, and by having the chief be there and his plan to have recruits immersed in this environment, I think it's only going to get better in the future, because there's going to finally be a full measure of empathy for what these people have to go through, what they do go through. It's traumatic, right? Being homeless. Mm-hmm. And now the future of the Montreal Police Force is going to understand that in all its colors.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. I mean, the future, again, as you said, looks pretty bright here, if that's the focus right now. I'm just curious, Mr. Daguerre, at any point did you try to strike up conversations with people? Did anybody try to strike one up with you?
Yeah, I had many conversations with some homeless people, trying to see, when I was serving them dinner or breakfast or lunch, I was trying to talk to them. What I was very, very surprised is the number of women and the number of young men. And what I realized also is in Quebec, we really treat the emergency instead of treating on the middle and long term. We always have a short vision. And to think about it, I think it was James or somebody else who told me that to take care of a homeless person, it takes $60,000 a person when you do the emergency approach. Mm-hmm. But if you find a housing for them, it costs between $15,000 to $20,000. Yeah. So I think collectively we should think about it and see how we're going to approach the homeless situation, because if we continue working only on the emergency vision, like a strategy, it's not going to work. We need a longer vision. We need on a long term something going to be helping that community.
Listen,
this is very encouraging.
Yeah, first of all, it's wonderful that you've actually decided to do this, and I hope this is not the last time that someone decides to do something like this. And you're right about a long-term vision here, and not just dealing with emergencies as they come up. We're out of time. Mr. Daguerre, first of all, I want to thank you for being with us. James, thank you so much. This is a really good news story. We'll leave it at that. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.